Hello and welcome to the main event, Mark Podcast on the Unhinged Sports Network. I'm your first host, lifelong wrestling fan, former radio guy, cat dad, Troy. And with me as always is the WWE Walking Wrestling Encyclopedia, the main event collector. He is the atom bomb to my crush. He is Greg. What's up, Greg?
Good Lord.
Yeah.
This show's, man.
Well, let me ask you, after watching New Blood Rising 2000 and going from that to, going from, it replaced Road Wild, which would you rather have?
Is neither a choice?
Yeah, I was going to say the third choice is Death, which I would gladly take. Waiting for the sweet release of Death. But, yeah.
First of all, I like how you call it New Blood Rising 2000, insinuating there might have been more than one.
Well, yeah.
And second, go from Road Wild, Hog Wild to this.
Yeah. Well, and if anybody wants
Maybe
to...
August feels cursed, and it was destined to have bad pay-per-views.
Yeah, it's like...
for WCW.
Right, it's like, what's WWE doing? Oh, SummerSlam? We got that beat. Sturgis, baby.
Bro, the new blood will rise, bro.
And I like how they go from Sturgis, what is it, South Dakota? To, and they're like, they're like, how can we get, like, more into a barren wasteland than that? Oh, I know, Vancouver.
I didn't say it.
Yeah, you can at me all you want, whatever, but I don't know.
I didn't disagree either, but I didn't say it.
We're putting off talking about the actual event at hand here, which is New Blood Rising,
Yeah, we're putting it off for good reason, because it's that bad.
Well, if anybody goes back and listens to last year, we actually, around this time, covered Road Wild 1999, which was the very last one. They were in Sturgis for the very last time. The main event was Hulk Hogan putting his career on the line against Kevin Nash's world title. And also
Kevin Nash's career,
yeah, so... that was a running thing. We talked about it before in WCW, where either Hulk Hogan or Ric Flair were always putting their career on the line. Sometimes both at the same time. So, whatever. But either way, that was, if you really want to go back and listen to, what happened the year before this, it wasn't much better.
And why
check that out. Yeah. Vampiro was also on that show, coming out to Insane Clown Posse. And the Insane Clown Posse was on that show, actually.
Just barf all around.
As a listener of the show and a friend of ours once texted me, turned on Road Wild 1999, sees Insane Clown Posse, turns off Road Wild 1999.
That's it, I'm done.
Yeah, they're like, oh, well, never mind.
That's a pretty legit reason to be done with the show, by the way. So.
I'm not saying he's wrong, I'll just say that, but...
I watched this live, by the way.
Oh, lucky you.
I'm pointing that out. I'm like, man, I've seen it too many times.
Yeah, I've seen it once, and that was enough. That was more than enough.
I don't think I ever want to kick your ass more than you watch this.
Well, we'll talk about it here in a few, but real quick, I want to let you know that the Main Event Marks is sponsored by Fubo TV, which is the best way to cut the cord. The links are down in the podcast description. Subscribe now and let them know that the Main Event Marks and the Unhinged Sports Network sent you. Also, we're brought to you by FANATICS, which has all the officially licensed gear for your favorite athletes and sports leagues. Check them out now. The links are down in the podcast description for that as well. On checkout, let them know that the Unhinged Sports Network and the Main Event Marks sent you. And we are pumped to let you know that we have a new sponsorship from Swift Lifestyles. They are clean energy drinks and focus enhancers, great tasting vitamins, and big brain nootropics that are made and shipped from the USA. Go to swiftlifestyles.com and use our special promo code MAINEVENTMARKS, all one word, for 15% off your order. And if you are listening on the podcast feed on demand, please subscribe and leave a 5-star review and some feedback. That is the best way to spread the word about us and get us noticed. And if you are not listening to us live, you can check us out every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific on unhingedsn.airtime.pro. The immediate replay is at 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific. We also have replays at 8 p.m. Eastern on Thursdays, Fridays, and Mondays. That's unhingedsn.airtime.pro. Are you ready to go into the news from this time, man?
Oh, I'm ready. I got a feeling I know a couple things you're going to say.
Yeah. Well, we'll take our first break, and when we come back, the news is going to be the best part of this, but we'll have fun with the event itself. We are going to take our first break. When we come back, we're going to go into this. We're going to breach into the news here, meaning we're going in ass first, right after this break. Follow the Main Event Marks at facebook.com/Main Event Marks Pod, on Twitter at Main Event _Marks, and on Instagram at Main Event _Marks and at Main Event Collector. Get all the best podcast swag from the Main Event Marks. Our merch shop offers custom graphics, including the podcast logo, on hats, shirts, masks, greeting cards, and more. There are tons of new designs, with more dropping all the time. Just head on over to redbubble.com/people/Main Event Marks to grab your podcast merch today and become an official Main Event Mark. That's redbubble.com/people/Main Event Marks. The Main Event Marks are available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. Now back to the show. And we're back. Time to dive into the news and notes. It's not even joking about this. This is usually everybody's favorite part of the show, including ours. So this is definitely going to be our favorite part of this show.
And I know we've gotten some feedback on something. I like not knowing what TJ is going to say.
Yeah, more organic that way.
Troy, for most of you. I like it, because it's fun.
Yeah.
It's also a fun guessing game, like with me. I'm like, what could he be talking about? And we're going to see. I usually know at least 2 stories you're going to say, and I'm surprised in the rest. So.
Right. Well, our first story here, it's definitely our top story. We're going to lead with WCW this week. The future of WCW is in question this week, as the company lost an estimated $7 million during the month of July, which is by far the most money lost in a single month by any wrestling company in history.
Stay tuned.
Right now, WCW is on pace to lose a staggering $80 million over the course of this year. Meanwhile, there's a lot of talk about a possible merger between AOL and Time Warner, and the need to get the company's losses under control.
Wonder how that's going to go.
Yeah. Well, AOL and Time Warner do merge. They have a terrible baby together that destroys WCW for good. As far as the money goes, I mean, this is straight from the Wrestling Observer, so they're going with,
So it's nonsense, got it.
Yeah, right, it's bogus. And Brian Alvarez wrote the book, The Death of WCW, which Eric Bischoff has heavily disputed, and he even offered, when he and Brian Alvarez were going to be at, it was one of the Starcasts, and he offered to debate Brian Alvarez. He was like, bring your book, bring your whatever research you claim that you've done, and we will have a debate. Yeah, right. And he's like, and we will, take questions from the audience, and we'll have a debate on stage and talk about this. And Brian Alvarez just flat out turned it down, said, nope, I refuse. And then Dave said, well, if he would have accepted, I would have been very mad at him. It's like, because you don't want to get called out on your BS. That can be the only reason.
I want to point out, by the way, I don't know if anyone knows this, Bischoff refuses to sign that book at signings.
Yep.
That's a true story.
I think he said that's the only thing he refuses to sign. Because he said he's gotten asked to sign like some weird stuff, and that's the only thing he'll refuse to sign, because he doesn't want his name on that crap. And that is heavily disputed by the book. It's just titled Nitro. I can't remember. Do you remember off the top of your head? Because they used to mention it all the time on Bischoff's podcast. Who the hell wrote that thing?
No, I thought Brian wrote it.
No, he wrote the Death of WCW. Okay. The book is called Nitro. It's Guy Evans. That's the writer of the book. But sorry, my Wi-Fi is a little slow here. But it's Nitro: The Incredible Rise and an Inevitable Collapse of Ted Turner's WCW. But it's just called Nitro, basically, and it's by a guy named Guy Evans. He spoke with anybody who knew anything. He did deep research, and the numbers do not add up with Brian Alvarez, who basically went through Uncle Dave and people who had third, fourth, and fifth hand knowledge, or no knowledge at all, and we're just trying to get in a book. So there you go.
At least get Terry Taylor?
Oh, I'm pretty sure he got Terry Taylor. But my thing is with the debate issue. If you know that you're right, and it's not like you're being invited to something you weren't going to go to. You're there. You're doing Q&As anyway. The other guy is there. He's doing Q&As. And he says, I'm going to debate, if you want, we'll debate. Why would you turn that down if you think you're right?
Because it might harm sales, you idiots.
Yeah. If you think you're right, you don't turn down a debate like that, because that can only make you look better and him and the other guy look like an idiot. But clearly he didn't want to be made to look like an idiot, so he turned it down.
Well, that's way too late.
Yeah, right. Well, this is the same guy whose career was ended by Nick Gage, so... Real statement, by the way. Speaking of Eric Bischoff, by the way, his position in WCW was officially changed to consultant, and he's still under contract, but nothing is happening with him. He's still trying to get back into power, but he's also looking into attempting to put together a group to outright buy WCW. Brad Siegel has apparently decided to give Vince Russo his 100% support and take full control over the direction of the company. I wonder how that's going to go.
Bro!
This was after the reboot. I thought by this point, according to Eric Bischoff, they had lost all confidence in Russo at this point.
I thought they had already lost confidence in him and then they brought him back for the reboots.
Yeah, that was my thing. So it's like, why are they like, we're going to give him 100% support? Like, why? What has he done to change your mind? Unless you just don't care at this point.
Get something out of their investment? I don't know what the hell you get out of that, but,
I'm honestly thinking, with everything how it transpired, I'm wondering if they actually put him in charge because they knew AOL and Time Warner did not want wrestling. And they're like, well, if we let this guy keep running the company, he'll run it straight in the ground and we'll have a really good excuse to cancel everything.
Well, good play.
Yeah, I really think that. Did you know there are people that actually believe that Vince Russo was actually on Vince McMahon's payroll for a while, and secretly McMahon sent him there to destroy WCW?
Pretty sure WCW was already dying before he got there.
Yeah, well, it was on life support. It could have been revived if it had the right people behind it. But everybody in the office on down just sucked. And then they brought Vince Russo in to pull the plug, punch the dying body until it did die, and then piss on the corpse.
Died. Don't, bro.
Yeah, he pissed on the corpse, lit it on fire, bro, and it was gone forever, bro. Oh, man.
Real Russo statement, apparently. I haven't heard it. Many people have said it, though.
Yeah, people don't know what we're talking about. Go back and listen to we reviewed that show. What is it?
It was King of the Ring 98. I think it was our first show.
Yes, King of the Ring 1998. Our very first podcast, like Greg said, now in the archives. Go check it out. There was a first blood match between Stone Cold Steve Austin and Kane. Kane said if he lost, he'd set himself on fire. And allegedly, Bruce Pritchard said when they asked Russo, well, what if he loses, and he said, well, then he's going to set himself on fire and he's gone forever, bro.
Oh, man. That's a real sentence.
Vince Russo, speaking of him, also did an interview recently talking a big game about how WCW had to rebuild around younger stars and that the wrestlers are the stars, not him, etc. Yeah, coming from the guy who puts himself on TV all the time. All right. Then, in the same interview, he challenged Atlanta Braves baseball player John Rocker to a match on pay-per-view in New York, bro.
Does anybody know why about John Rocker? I don't know if anyone knows, but
if you don't remember,
he's the one that went off in racist terms on New Yorkers.
Yep. If you don't remember, Rocker is the Braves player who was caught talking crap a while back for saying some things, or some pretty hateful things about New York and basically every ethnicity that lives there.
And you don't need a Wikipedia to tell you they have like every demographic in New York. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's like the United Nations there. So, yeah, didn't he say something about like I know something about, like, I don't want to ride the subway next to some, like, pregnant Mexican mother or some crap like that.
Yeah.
And he just went off about black people and just, like, everything under the sun. I'm like, dude, what the F, man? I know you live in Atlanta, but here's another thing. He lives and plays in Atlanta, and there's the demographics like, yeah, screw New York. But on the other hand, more than 50% of the population of Atlanta is black. I
wonder how he feels about homosexuals, because I think it's a a pretty big homosexual demographic there too. So
yeah, right. I can't remember if he said anything about them.
I don't know, but I wouldn't put it above him.
I don't feel like Googling John Rocker's comments at this time, but it's I'm sure if people Google John Rocker, it's probably going to be the first damn thing that comes up. Ugh, man.
Remember when Bubba Ray Dudley in ECW fans were telling him, my new hero, John Rocker.
Mother of God.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so I was wrong. It's not the first thing that pops up, but yeah, it's some of the top things you're gonna find when you just type in John Rocker. It's like first are like his stats, and then like right under that it's like John Rocker's story 15 years later, and what happened to the controversial MLB pitcher John Rocker. And apparently he was on a season of Survivor.
Wow.
Yeah, didn't know all that. Yeah, that's where irrelevant people go to die.
Or where some were born, like Johnny Fairplay.
That's true, yeah. Diamond Dallas Page is ready and wanting to come back, but for now, they're not planning to bring him back because Russo doesn't want to use him, saying that he's trying to basically get rid of anyone he deems as old. Anyway, DDP has since asked Kane again to stop using the Diamond Cutter and stop copying his mannerisms since it's looking unlikely that DDP will ever be coming back. About that.
He comes back.
Yeah.
He wins the last ever pay-per-view.
Right. So,
Which I think is in the archives?
Greed? Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Greed, now in the archives. We did that WrestleMania season this year, back in March. So, yay us. That was a slog to get through. It was better than this show, I'll say that. But what's that really saying, Greg?
Well, it's an underrated show, actually. You know.
The opening match, oddly enough, you're going to laugh when you see who's in it. The opening match, really good. Or at least I think that was the opener, wasn't it? Kwee-Wee and... Okay. I know, everybody just laughed when I said Kwee-Wee. Is Kwee-Wee and Jet. Can't think of his name. Jason Jet.
Jason Jet.
Yeah. So, that was on there.
He was actually good.
Right. And I believe that ladder match was on there. That was good. So, there's a ladder match on this show, too, we'll get to. But
there's something better than a ladder match.
Yeah, right. Lots of drama in WCW with Goldberg right now. Apparently Vince Russo laid out his future plans regarding the world title. And guys like Goldberg, Booker T, Kevin Nash, and Scott Steiner. Long story short, it ends with Goldberg losing at this month's pay-per-view in a three-way match, and then losing again to Scott Steiner next month. And, well, Goldberg said, no thanks. It led to a meeting with him, Russo, and Brad Siegel, and right now Goldberg's position in WCW is considered up in the air. And there's rumors that they may be trying to get rid of him. He still has 3 years left on his contract.
I think he had just signed that, too.
Yeah. I know this was around the time that Eric Bischoff said during these most recent contract negotiations, he said he really started to hate Bill Goldberg and his lawyer. So, I think it was, didn't he say it was Hulk Hogan's agent?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So, he really started to hate that guy, and he said he used stuff that, I guess the guy was friends with Bischoff, and used stuff that he knew personally about Bischoff that was told to him in confidence to try to get a better deal for Goldberg and his other clients. And so Bischoff said he started to hate him at that point.
Hey, give me more money. That works for me, brother.
Yeah. Here's one that I never knew I would talk about, but here we are. Currently, the WCW Hardcore title has been dubbed the Saskatchewan Hardcore International title.
Sorry.
Good Lord.
I can't leave that in, because that's what it was. Literally.
Yeah.
And figuratively.
Yeah, I mean, you guys can figure it out. Saskatchewan Hardcore International Title. SHIT. There you go. The original idea of the name was actually they were going to call it the Stu Hart International Title, and they even asked Brett if it would be okay with him if they could call it that, and Brett gave them the okay, but it never happened for whatever reason. I don't know, maybe because no one wanted to associate Stu Hart with
Bro.
Can you imagine that call? I don't know who he had, the phone number to at WCW, but they answer the phone and he's like, hey, it's Stu. I saw one of you guys had put my name on a title and called it what's up with that? You guys some kind of weirdos or something?
As long as the Rhino is in shop.
Yeah, I was going to say. It's like, you can call it whatever you want as long as you get the Rhino a job. He calls Vince Russo up. He calls Vince Russo up. He's like, I got an invitation to my dungeon for you. Show you a couple loads. Do
you know how many tickets that would have sold? Or pay-per-views or stuff?
Dude, I don't know what, well, actually, we have a somewhat sad story about his conditions here coming up in a minute, but, I'm sure he still could have stretched Vince Russo at this time.
Yeah, right.
Well, speaking of sad stories, man, we gotta get to this one. Van Hammer's been released.
Oh, I need to get like a sound effect thing for when you say stuff like this.
Yeah. For that one, the sound effect would be wah, wah, wah.
Oh, for me it'd be like, oh, like a sad moment, a sitcom or something.
It would be like wailing and gnashing of teeth. Why? Why, God?
Why would you do this to us?
Major stash, man. Yeah, right. Major stash, man. They let him go.
Before the days of the internet and stuff, I would not see guys and like wonder what the hell happened to so and so,
Yeah.
And they're like, well, it is it's on topic, but not. But like, I remember when Jake the Snake debuted at Halloween Havoc 92.
Yeah.
I was like, what the hell? He's in WCW now? He was just, not just, but like last time I'd seen him, he faced The Undertaker at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So it's like, and I'm thinking about like what you just said too, and I did remember, not that I was like missing him, don't get me wrong, but I do remember I was like watching this, like, what the hell happened to Van Hammer? And I remember when they had the invasion too in WWE, and he's like, he's not there. And again, not that I was hurting for him, but like, where is he?
Yeah, you were like, where's Van Hammer? Oh well, who cares?
It's like, not that I care. I'm just taking a census here, so I know where everyone is.
You're right. Well, here's a weird one.
Do you know why, by the way? Does it say why?
No.
I mean, not that it's a big thing. I'm just curious.
Probably because he was a huge a-hole, but that's just a stab in the dark.
They were doing stuff with him. I mean, not good stuff, but stuff.
Yeah.
He was on TV.
Yeah, I
jokes
know.
all we want, but he was on TV. We knew him, so
Yeah, I really, I don't know. It didn't really give a reason. Just said he was released. So maybe it was just a cost-cutting thing, or I mean, I don't know. And
bro,
like,
he can play guitar, bro.
Yeah,
he already got Jeff though.
Bro, Jeff doesn't play it, bro. He just hits people with it. That's what you use guitars for, bro. Anyway, this is an odd one. That's just made me laugh.
Should I prepare for this?
Well, the new woman who is playing Papaya, who is the wife of Kiwi, is actually a stripper from Pittsburgh who got the job through Mark Madden.
Of course she did.
Just like there's so many offshoots to the story. She's a stripper, she's from Pittsburgh, and she got her job through Mark effing Madden.
Well,
what?
Madden had that pole, dude. You know that.
Yeah, well, he didn't have that stroke, though.
I listened to Bischoff's podcast, and I've actually heard him say that he thought Mark Madden was one of the most underrated announcers ever, and he can't believe he's not in wrestling, and someone hasn't hired him.
I can't believe he had a job as long as he did. Mark Madden was just so freaking unbearable. On this show alone.
I'm so glad you put that in past tense, because,
Well, I don't know how he is now. I take that back. I've heard him on Keep It at 100, because apparently he's friends with Conan and Disco. They have a weird-ass crew, man. That's all I gotta say. It's freaking Disco Inferno, Conan, and Mark Madden. And then they used to have Lance Storm and Don Callis on their show every once in a while, but I don't think they do that anymore.
They got the invisible hand? I
guess so. Well, and they got the invisible talent, Vince Russo, on there a few times.
Okay, that's not really funny because if he was invisible, he'd have been a lot more tolerable. But whatever.
No, I'm saying his talent is invisible. It's just you can't.
No, it's not. There's no talent. No.
Well, maybe you don't know it's there because it's invisible. You can't see it.
It's like John Cena reference.
It's like John Cena. You just can't see it. All right.
I'm gonna slap you when I get to Columbus. Can you remind me to do that, please? I'm gonna just roll right up to your car. I'm gonna whip out my hand, just smack the hell out of you when you're in the seat.
Wow. This one, actually, I did not know anything about this. Maybe you have more details on this than I do, but Bam Bam Bigelow is still suffering from burns that he got from saving some people from a fire, and he'll be out for a while.
I do remember that. It was actually on my local news.
Really?
Yeah.
What the hell happened?
He ran in and saved some people from a fire, I heard, or something like that.
Like from a house fire? Or?
I think so, or was it a car? It was one of those two. It's been a long time. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, I didn't do research on Bam Bam Bigelow and fires.
Am I the only one that sees the irony, by the way?
I was thinking that too. I'm like, the guy who has, like, tattoos on his head.
Like, fire.
Of flames, yeah. It's like, okay, so apparently Bam Bam Bigelow saved 3 children from a burning home, and he suffered burns to 40% of his body, and he spent 2 months in the hospital recovering. Yeah. Wow.
And he was on the very last Nitro, too.
I never thought that I could like Bam Bam Bigelow, like, more, but it's like, I gained a lot of respect for him with that one. Like, holy crap. I always like Bam Bam Bigelow, so that's pretty cool to know that he did something like that. Scott Hall.
Look out for that new figure, by the way, at Target, because it's going to be hard to find, so if you find it and want it.
Oh, yeah, right.
It's his new ECW figure.
Yep. Well, somebody who didn't have a lot of respect from people at this time, Scott Hall is still officially on the injured list, and he is not medically...
A transition. Crap.
From Scott Bigelow to Scott Hall, here we go. But yeah, Scott Hall is still on the injured list, and he's not medically cleared to wrestle due to his neck surgery. I had no idea he had neck surgery in 2000.
Well, yeah, I think the last match he had was it Super Brawl, I think? Maybe wrestle after that, but...
Well, how about that? Today I learned something new. But here's a sad story regarding the Harts that I was talking about earlier. There was a recent story about the Hart family lawyers who got some of Owen's siblings to sign documents entitling them to Helen and Stu's share of any potential settlement money if Helen and Stu died before the trial is finished.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, they were suing the WWE for wrongful death or whatever, or unsafe working. I don't know what all of it was, but basically anything around Owen's death. But Stu Hart was recently hospitalized for pneumonia while Helen Hart had a blood clot. Someone in the Hart family, later found out to be Natalia's mom, turned over these documents to WWF lawyers to complain that it was witness tampering. The Hart lawyers claimed that the documents were stolen and WWF had no right to them. A judge ruled in favor of the Hart lawyers for now and has ordered the documents to be sealed. The judge ruled that ethically, WWF lawyers should not have had access to the paperwork and that they should have immediately notified the court these documents that they had obtained wrongfully. The Hart lawyers said that the siblings who signed it aren't expected to be called as witnesses, and thus it's not witness tampering, and was just an attempt to encourage the family to stick together and fend off WWF officials who they claim are trying to turn members of the family against each other.
Okay, first of all, ethics and legality are two different things. So which one was it?
Yeah, right.
I don't think people realize that.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you can be ethically wrong and legally right at the same time, or vice versa, I guess.
I think ethics is just a fancy word for morally, in my opinion, but yeah, that's...
Yeah. And
I think it's pathetic they're fighting over money for a guy who died.
Yeah. Well, supposedly they were all... Because this all started that we're all going to stick together as a family and sue the WWF for this. And then if you believe all the stories that came out since then, I mean, obviously Natalia's mom took documents to the WWF behind the family's back. And supposedly there were other ones going to the WWF and was like, hey, I'll give you information about the family if, you hook me up. Wink, wink. So the Hart family, a lot of the members of them are just backstabbers and everything else. So nobody could trust anybody. And if you believe the stories...
And you thought your family's bad, folks.
Yeah, right. And if you believe some of the other stories, apparently Smith Hart is just a nut. Like a legit effing nut.
Didn't they talk about that on Dark Side?
I can't remember for sure. They might have. I know there was a story that he had to drive Andre the Giant when he was working in the Calgary territory. He had to drive Andre to the airport to catch his flight. And he, drove like an effing psycho demon to the point of, Andre, as soon as they got to the airport, Andre, jumped out of the car, slammed the door, and bitched at Stu, and he was like, I'm never riding with him again, never let him near me. Holy crap.
Pretty sure a guy that size didn't have to say it very loud.
Oh, yeah, it's like The Undertaker. You say it once, and that's enough. And the fact that you even had to say it is bad. But somebody else who died around this time, the funeral service for Gordon Sully was held in Tampa. Spoken eulogies were given by Brian Blair and baseball player Wade Boggs.
Wow.
Apparently,
Wade's a huge fan of wrestling. I mean, I knew he was friends with Kurt Hennig, but...
Yeah, apparently he was good friends with Gordon Sully as well. That's pretty cool. Gordon Sully actually penned, people can look him up if they want, he penned, multiple letters when he knew he was dying. So, I mean, it's sad, obviously, but it's kind of like his final thoughts and stuff like that. And he was pretty lucid at the time, so he, because...
Not to make this sound dark, but that's something I wish I could... I hope I'm in the right frame of mind to do that.
Yeah, right. It's like, well, I'm dying, and, here's what I think of, whatever I've been through. That's kind of cool. B. Brian Blair, though. That's one I didn't expect to hear.
Oh, man, I think as we're recording this, I just saw something on the news that his son got murdered. Was it him or Brazil?
Oh,
one of them,
man.
Their son got murdered. Yeah. Just recently. We're talking as of recording, I think it was yesterday.
That's awful, dude. Son of wrestling legend B. Brian Blair killed. Wow. That sucks, man. That happened, as of recording, it happened yesterday. He looked a lot like his dad, but with tattoos. He was only 29 years old. Damn.
29.
Yeah. Apparently, yeah, I don't think it's saying how.
I don't think they know how yet. Yeah.
His name was Brett. Yeah, they said details on Brett's death have not been confirmed as of this writing. Brian's oldest son was named after WWE Hall of Famer Bret Hart. Wow. Wrestling is weird, man. That sucks. He was apparently hanging out in Florida and was killed. Damn. Something else. I'm not even gonna make a comparison here because it's just that's about as bad as it gets. But this is pretty bad for this time. Payroll in ECW is currently being made. Everyone.
Sorry, you said payroll in ECW and that popped me.
I know, right? But everyone is still one paycheck behind. Oh, just one, huh?
It's sad that that's a win.
I know. But they're trying to catch up. In order to save money, Jerry Lynn, the Baldies, Cyrus, Joel Gertner, Joey Styles, and others were not flown in for TV this week. How are you going to have a show without the Baldies?
All jokes aside, Jerry Lynn in 2000 is probably their best wrestler. There could be an argument made that he was probably one of the very best in the world in 2000, so that one kind of shocks me.
Right. Well, and they didn't.
The rest, whatever. I mean, Joey Styles, I don't know, because nowadays it's like, oh, you can play in the outside, they just film it from home. I don't think that was an option back then, so that, I don't know.
I'm thinking by 2000, because they did, remote stuff with Raw all the time back in the day, because, I mean, when they would pre-record, I know Cornette and Jim Ross talked about that they would pre-record Raw, a week ahead, and then to stay current with the announcing, if they wanted to mention something on commentary, as it was playing live on TV, Vince McMahon and everybody else would be in sound studios doing the
I
announcing.
remember hearing about that. That's called, I believe, I don't know if it's true unofficially, it's called the Ahmed Johnson effects. Do you know about that?
No, why?
So when Farouk debuted, he had hurt Ahmed like legit, and he hurt his kidney, and then he went to the hospital. But he apparently wasn't hurt bad enough yet, so he recorded the next Raw, and he won a battle royal to face the WWE champion at some point. But as it's being recorded, he's in the hospital, so he's not going to be facing champion after this for a long time. So they have the announcers on commentary say, "Well, he's in this match against doctor's orders," and they threw that in. They threw that in there apparently. So I think that's what I heard. Was it Jim Cornette? It might have been Sub. It might have been on one of Conrad's podcasts. It might have been actually no. I think it was Pritchard. He had said that they call it the Ahmed Johnson effect now. Like they got to go record stuff and do voiceovers for lines that are already done because of stuff that happens that they unforeseen. So
wow, that's kind of cool. Yeah, and I'm assuming that's what they did because, I mean, that's all their announcers. Cyrus, Joel Gertner, and Joey Styles. So if they're not flying them in for TV, they would have had to do it remote. So, and I assume they all kind of lived in the same area. I know Paul E. had like a studio in his basement, so a little makeshift studio.
Austin cutting that famous promo in there.
Yeah. Let's drop the lights and put a black background behind you.
Black background, sheet from Walmart, whatever.
Right.
Hey, whatever works. I'm not knocking it.
I buy black bed sheets for a reason, sir.
Because I pee a lot, and I don't want no one to...
What the hell? Not where I thought you'd go with it, but nice. Oh, man. Mitsuharu Misawa's new Noah promotion held their first 2 shows, and they were a huge success. Tickets to both shows sold out in minutes, and they even erected a huge screen outside the building for the 1,300 fans who gathered outside to watch the show.
Is Misawa the guy whose name CM Punk wrote on his wrist when he passed away? Is that him?
I don't know.
I feel like he had Misawa written on there, but
he might have.
Did Misawa die?
Yeah, he died in the ring.
I think that was him then.
Yeah, for anybody that doesn't know, Mitsuharu Misawa is a huge Japanese legend. Him and Kenta Kobashi were huge rivals through, I think they were in All Japan, and he wore green all the time, and he did like the Emerald Flosion, and he named the Tiger Driver, and just all that stuff. And he died because he had neck issues, and he got dropped on his head, basically got dropped on his head with a back body drop, and, well, that's all she wrote. The promotion he started was called Noah because him and a bunch of, like, since he was such a big locker room leader, he got, like, some of the biggest talents in All Japan to jump ship and form this promotion with him, and that's why it's a reference to, Noah's Ark. So, and it still exists to this day, by the way. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's a number 3 promotion in Japan, but that's where, before coming to WWE, that's where Kenta was. An Austin, Texas newspaper ran a story about the death of Bobby Duncan Jr. It was built around Rob Van Dam, who had 3 friends, Duncan, Gary Albright, and Louis Spicoli, all die in the last 2 years. Jeez. It talked about how many of the more than 24 wrestling deaths in the last few years can be attributed to the physical demands of the business. Duncan's wife was interviewed, Brian Pillman's wife, talking about Pillman's use of HGH, and on and on. Steroids, painkillers, etc. The usual
By
story...
chance, was it that woman, Melanie?
Yeah, it was Melanie.
I don't think she should be on anything talking about drug usage. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I know. If people... I mean, did you have a reaction, like, the first time you saw her? Like, because my first reaction was like, that's Melanie Pillman?
That was my reaction, yep.
I was like, holy cow. And then, I mean, I've seen this in person, so I was like, she had to have been doing drugs. And come to find out, yeah, she did.
And you could see the marks on her arms during the whole interview. It's not even trying to hide it. I'm not trying to poke fun at it. It's not funny at all.
It's really sad. Yeah, it's very, very sad. It's just like, wow. But the usual story on the subject, basically about all the drugs and whatever. RV talked about how he used to have to physically carry Spicoli through airports sometimes, and how he couldn't do it and still make his own flights. So sometimes Spicoli would miss shows because RVD couldn't carry his dead weight through the airport, and how they tried to get him to get clean, but of course it didn't work.
More irony, by the way, but and I love RVD, you know that, but come on.
Well,
I mean, it is just weed, to be fair. But
I was going to say, I don't think he's going to be overdosing on weed anytime soon. So, yeah, we had talked about it. I can't remember what show it was you and I reviewed. Was it Starrcade 97 that he passed away before?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, because you had told me that...
Wait, it was Super Brawl, because I was there.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yep, Super Brawl 7 in 97, correct?
Right.
Or, yeah, I don't know. One of them. It's in the archives. It was right after Starrcade 97, so I guess it would have been Super Brawl 8, because it was in 98. But anyway,
I never remember the numbers of those, honestly.
The only way I remember is because the first one was in 91, so you just, it matches up with that. So, that's it. I found that out. But either way, Spicoli had died. Apparently, he had a friend staying over with him the night he overdosed, and he hid all of Spicoli's drugs before he went to bed, and Spicoli still found drugs and overdosed. Like, that's sad, man. But moving on here, former WCW women's wrestler Mona, real name Nora Greenwald, and the future Molly Holly, has reached a deal with WWF. She's 22 and has a gymnastics background and is a pretty good wrestler. I wonder where that's going to go.
Nowhere.
Yeah, she's not going to get in the Hall of Fame or anything. That's stupid. Wasn't she Miss Madness?
Yes.
All right.
I remember a couple of times Mike Tenay actually called her or referred to some. They had it was for 1 week. They had another woman being Miss Madness, and they referred to her as the second Miss Madness.
Wow.
So they try to keep it alive.
Good Lord. Yeah, because that's something you want to keep alive. We're all dying for, that to continue. Big Show has been sent down to OVW for additional training before they bring him back on a full-time basis.
And it will happen at the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, this is 2000, so yeah, he'll be back in 2001. I want to say this was when maybe he had weight loss surgery around this time.
Could be.
So I know he got lipo around one of these times because he said he wanted to get in better shape and he was starting to gain some weight.
He comes back looking bigger than before though at the Royal Rumble, so.
Oh yeah, I get the timeline mixed up with his weight because I know at one point Pritchard said they did have him on weight management and sent him to OVW for a while because they literally told him it's like you're fat, go back to developmental.
Fat.
I'll make him bleed. Triple H has a badly bruised bicep, which is why his arm has been heavily bandaged lately.
Yeah, and then they turn him into a babyface for a hot minute. Which is still random as hell to me.
I don't remember the bruised or the arm tape around this time.
I'm trying to remember, but I do know he didn't wrestle a lot on TV at this point.
Huh. Dave Hebner suffered a minor heart attack and is hospitalized, but should recover. He does. He kicks out. As far as I know, he's still alive and kicking to this day.
Referring to this day, I believe.
Dave?
Wasn't he on Impact?
This is Earl's brother.
Yeah, I know. He was on Impact. Yeah, he brought Earl in. Maybe he's not repping anymore, but he was in Impact.
Oh, I don't remember that. Huh. I'd have to go check that out. Because I can't remember. Wow. I usually remember the TNA stuff like that, but... Alright, well, that's all I got for the news and notes. It only goes downhill from here as far as the show itself that we're going to review, but...
Take that back.
But our review will be entertaining, so tune in for that. But we'll be back on the other side of this break talking about WCW's New Blood Rising. Follow the Main Event Marks at Facebook.com/Main Event Marks Pod, on Twitter at Main Event _Marks, and on Instagram at Main Event _Marks and at Main Event Collector.
good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. My name is Thomas, and what's your name?
I'm Alan.
Alan.
Oh, yeah. We're brothers.
That's right.
Yeah. Same mother and father.
Your room was...
We share the room.
Shared a room.
We share the room.
Thought I knew your face.
Yeah, we go way back, mate. Yeah.
We should do a podcast then.
We have.
We do a podcast.
We do a podcast.
What's it called?
The Broadcast. Yeah, that was planned.
Yeah. Well.
What do we do?
Well, we cover all different things in the world of pop culture. We're talking about comic books, we're talking about professional wrestling, and we're talking about movies. Go back and watch classic retro wrestling events, the likes of WWE, WCW, and if you do like that, you can check us out on Apple iTunes, also on Podbean, Anchor, and on Podknife. Also check us out on Twitter at The Broadcast. That's BROKAST. There. Nearly stuffed up the ending.
Yeah, it's all right. Good on you.
Yeah. Instagram also at The Broadcast Podcast.
Remember, we don't spell it with a C. We spell it with a K.
Sorry, mate.
Take it easy.
The main event marks are available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. Now back to the show. And we're back. WCW New Blood Rising 2000. Well, the date was August 30th, 2000. The venue was...
This is your last chance, by the way, to turn this off, and we won't blame you.
Oh, please don't. Hey, us talking about it's going to be a lot better than you watching it. So if you were ever curious about it, well, here you go. We'll save you, 2.5 hours of your life having to watch it on Peacock? Watch it on The Cock.
That reminds me, I got to go to the stop later for a game. I'm sorry.
Good grief. But the venue is the Pacific Coliseum in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. The attendance was 6,614 people.
My God.
Yeah. Just, what the F, man?
Oh, let's remember it. Drew WrestleMania 36.
Oh my gosh, you're actually going to go there. The capacity, by the way, for hockey, I don't know what it is for wrestling, but the capacity for hockey was 16,000. So, or over 16,000. So this thing was like not even half full for a pay-per-view.
Screw the Canucks, man. Anyway, sorry.
The least they could have done was, held it in Sturgis so that, they could be like, whatever, we got what we got.
Oh my God. New Blood Rising. Those bikers would have made some blood rise, alright?
Yeah, right. The pay-per-view buy rate for this one, by the way, was 0.18. For suck! Whole thing sucked.
Yeah, I watched this live. That's right, I did. I'm pretty sure I did.
Did you watch it on the old Scrambler, or did you pay for this atrocity?
The first part, but I didn't do it. Someone else did, so
Yeah, it wasn't his Scrambler. Hey, statute of limitations, man. It's been 21 years, so F off.
But I'm still right. Not mine.
Yeah, it's like, hey, I didn't see nothing, all right? Well, I saw something.
Unfortunately, I did see this.
Yeah, right. Like, I wish I didn't see nothing. There were only 5,300 paid fans in the building, by the way. So, WCW handed out a ton of free tickets, but more than 50% of the people who were given free tickets didn't even show up.
Damn.
You know what that reminds me of is when the Bengals went to the playoffs, Chad Johnson bought a ton of tickets so that they wouldn't be blacked out and was literally giving them away on the street.
I remember that.
And people still didn't show up.
And they couldn't. Pathetic. It's not like, wrestling. You can't do the old black tarp. What's that? A trick?
Yeah. They can't tarp off half the arena and just shoot it from one angle. Well, let's dim the lights and act like, we have people. Nope.
You guys gotta go with Troy on this one, by the way. See, the Browns are actually good now, so he can make these jokes and get away with it.
Well, even when we sucked, we still sold out the stadium. That's the sad part. The Bengals went to the playoffs and they couldn't put asses in seats.
That's like Atlanta Braves bad. Yeah. This show, man.
Yeah. Well, in the opening for the show, the cameraman finds...
Hold on, not to cut you off, but I just want to say, watching it back, I remember thinking, I think I might have liked this show. I remember watching this event, and at the time, I was looking forward to it. And it just, I think it's because I was so in just watching wrestling, period, that I just took whatever.
Wow.
I mean, I'm somewhat the same now. Like when someone says, "Oh, it's just so crap," I'm like, "Well, I had fun watching it. I'm sorry, it's not like up to your weird standard, but I could watch it and enjoy it for what it is." But man, even this was so bad.
Yeah, this sucked all the ass. Whole thing sucked.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
But for the opening of the show, the cameraman finds some fans outside.
You are using parentheses with that, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
They did find some fans outside of the arena that don't have the look, bro. Which I'm sure was hard to find. But they get them to go crazy for Goldberg, Kevin Nash, and Scott Steiner. So yeah. But to open the show, 3 Count comes out with Tank Abbott, who has the nipples cut out of his shirt.
That's a real statement, by the way.
Yep. Once they're in the ring, Tank hypes 3 Count, and they all dance together while lip syncing before being interrupted by the Young Dragons. Or Young Dragons, whatever.
I had never been so excited to see them ever.
Yeah. So, this match is going to be a 6-man tag team ladder match for not 1 prize, but 2 prizes. You have to pull down the gold record and the recording contract.
Because if you're not keeping track, the Young Dragons were looking to make their own record, right?
Were they? Or is that
I'm
just sarcastic?
I'm just being sarcastic.
Okay.
Like, but if it's on the line, you want it, right?
God.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
I know,
I'm only using logic here. I'm sorry, but
commentary was crapping on this thing throughout the whole, because they were like, "So are they gonna make their own album or like what?" And then they were like, "So."
That's where I got it from.
Yeah, and they're like, "And who's the?" They were like, "Who's the recording contract through? Like, what label is it?" And they're like, "I don't know." It's like, holy crap, the commentary can't even pretend.
Dude, Tony Schiavone, man, you could tell he was so checked out. That was one of my notes. I'll get to it right now. It's like this entire night, if you just listen to him, when he says, when he laughs sarcastically, he goes, "Oh God." I mean, you can tell, dude. You could just tell he's like legitimately laughing at how bad this company is. And he's been there for years. He loved it. That's what sucks. It's not like just some guy they hired off the street. This is like their legit commentator. They're like the voice of the whole company. And he's laughing at it.
According to Conrad, he's the voice of your childhood.
He is.
So,
one
there
of them,
you go.
I just, man. I felt bad watching it back for him, but I'm like, I know he'll be fine.
He did say during this time he would drive up to the building and he would just sit in his car until he absolutely had to come into the building because he was so miserable.
Was he contemplating pulling the trigger?
Yeah, basically. He said, I would sit in that car and just think about my life and where I was going. Like,
I'm going in this building to call a comedy.
Basically. It's like, I have to pretend like I give a damn.
I'll let it go. Go ahead.
And then, and he's not good at hiding his emotions, because on his podcast, like, every time they have to cover a show from around this era, he's not, like, you can just hear, like, the sadness in his voice, and he's flat out told Conrad, he's like, I really hate when you pull these shows, because he's like, it puts me in the mindset of where I was at the time, and I just get so depressed all over again thinking about it. But you can tell he's like, at least, we can say whatever we want about it, but he's at least having fun in AEW from the sounds of it. Like, he sounds legitimately giddy to be calling wrestling again. Yeah, anyway, so this match, like I said, is a 6-man tag ladder, whatever. The teams are 3 Count, which is Shane Helms, Shannon Moore, and, of course, to quote Tony Schiavone, nothing happening, Evan Courageous. Wow. They've got Tank Abbott in their corner. They're taking on they're taking on the Young Dragons of Kaz Hayashi, Yang, and Jamie Sun, who is Jamie Noble in an effing mask and gi pants. Oh man.
2 things on that real quick. Looking back, 3 Count was actually pretty good. I know I didn't do much, but man, they were really good. And second, I just love how the guy in the pants, Jamie Noble, but I just love how it turns out to be like some guy with like a really southern twang voice. I'm like, that's the guy you're getting to be the ninja.
Right. I sat next to him on an airplane, by the way, on my way to New Orleans to meet you for WrestleMania.
Yeah, I think that's the same plane that when you got off, I got a selfie with all three members of the Riot Squad.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Oh.
I had Big E and Xavier Woods sitting behind me, and I like next to me, like on the other side of the aisle was at the time Hideo Itami and I can't remember who else. Anyway, but this went 11.5 minutes. It starts off like a tag match for some reason. Did you notice this?
I thought it was supposed to.
Yeah, I was like, what's happening? They did this for the other one they did at Greed, too, if I remember correctly. And then it just all breaks down.
So, hold on now. Russo's not at Greed, so I'm going to say it's not a Russo thing?
Yeah, like maybe they're
Don't
just...
Don't worry, there's plenty of other stuff we can blame on him, don't worry. So, but
yeah,
I think he gets an out for this one.
Yeah, who do we blame this one on? Sullivan?
That'd be my first guess.
This is how you set up the match, brother. Hey, instead of bro, it's brother. Anyway, Jamie Son pulls down the gold record, but he drops it, and Tank Abbott knocks him off the ladder, and he takes the record.
It's a real sentence.
Yep. In the end, Shane and Kaz are fighting on top of two separate ladders, and moron Tank Abbott shoves them both over, because, you frequently knock your own stablemate off a ladder.
And then what does he do?
Well, Evan Courageous then climbs a ladder and gets the contract for the win. We'll get into the post-match here in a second. Uncle Dave says that this was the best
part.
Uncle Dave says that this was the best match of the show, and I agree. Yes, we're getting the best match out of the way now, so buckle in. We both gave it 3 stars, Uncle Dave and I. What about you?
I do too. I love this match.
It was pretty good. I want to say
it made no sense, but it was pretty good.
Yeah, if you pin me down, I would have to say I think their Greed match was a little better, but I don't know. It's 6 one, half dozen the other. I think all pretty good. I think this was Russo's way of. He's like, bro, they're doing TLC over in WWF, bro. Here's our answer to it.
I'm sure he created TLC too, and they stole it from him.
Well, of course. But after the match, Tank Abbott takes the gold record and the recording contract, and he dances his way up the stage. He's like, yay!
I remember watching this, and I'm like, so are we going to actually have him come out with like an album? Are they really going to do that? That's what I thought they were going to do.
Weren't they supposed to have a second song?
They did.
Okay. Yeah. Good lord.
Actually, the one we're hearing at this event is the second song, I believe.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Yay, yeah, because we need more of that. Bro, who's popular right now, bro? Boy bands. You're all pretty boys. You're in a boy band now. Go out and dance on dots, bro. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, they literally put little dots in the ring and they would dance on them.
It's a real sentence.
Yep. We now go back to Ernest the Cat Miller's office. I think he was the commissioner at this point.
Yeah, this is like his 7th run as commissioner, I believe.
Nice. Where the filthy animals have taken over. The cat walks in and gets them all away from his stuff. Filthy animals want to referee the tag team titles match tonight, promising Cat a win in his match if he does this for them. Disco says it's because he's, quote, got it like that. The cat then agrees.
Well, people don't know this, but TJ's been beating me over the head with that all week, by the way.
I don't know why I find it so effing hilarious. Disco Inferno.
Because the way he says it. I got it like that.
And he's in a do-rag.
He enunciates the hell out of it, for one. Second, we know he has a New York accent. And third, he's supposed to be a disco guy.
Every time. All I can think of with him doing that is like my senior trip I went on was to Disney World. And a security guard gets on the bus before we get off to Disney World. And there was a dress code for the night and whatever. And the only thing I remember the guy saying, he had a thick, like, Wisconsin, Minnesota kind of accent. And he was like, no rag do's. Wow. I'm like, what the F is a rag do? But that's all I can think of. Like, Disco is so white, he probably called it that. They're like, you know what, we're just gonna let it go. Anyway, the cat agrees to the match, and Disco says, word to your mother. And he puts his fist out before the cat tells him to get the hell out. Oh, man. I'm a low-key mark for Disco Inferno. I'm just going to say that now.
Not this disco, but yeah, I like the other one.
Oh no, this one too. Any iteration, man. I did not like Glenn Gilberti in TNA. That one, nah, I wasn't down with that one. He did not have it like that. But anyway, this next match is the Great Muta. The legendary Great Muta, keep that in mind, versus Ernest the Cat Miller. This one went just shy of 7 minutes. Before the match starts, Miller grabs a mic and says that Muta doesn't understand English, but he'll make it real simple for him. He says, "You're the Great Muta, and I'm going to kick your great ass," before he jumps him with the mic.
All I heard in there was he said he has a great ass.
That's Japan's ass.
Wow.
Come on. Anyway, Tigress walks to the ring halfway through the match. Tony Schiavone's favorite, by the way. Muta missed Cat in the face at one point, and at the end, Tigress comes off the top rope with a chair onto Muta, but that's not the end of the match, of course, because why would it? Eventually, Cat hits the feliner for the win. Uncle Dave gave it a star. I gave it a 1.5 stars. What say you?
I gave it 1. But seeing the Great Muta was cool.
What had the Great Muta become? Like, really? So many things. We'll see him later in the show, too, and it doesn't get much better.
Hated.
Yeah. Backstage, Buff Bagwell is looking for his mom. Real sentence.
It's a real sentence. We're going to say that quite a few times.
Right. Mama Bagwell.
If you are even remotely familiar with pro wrestling, you know what's coming.
Yep. And allegedly, Buff Bagwell himself admitted that his mother shaves him. All of him. So keep that in mind. Things that make
I'd rather not.
Yeah, I think that's illegal in most states, by the way. Anyway.
I mean, it's from Atlanta, not Alabama, so I don't know.
Roll Tide on that one, man. Back in the arena, Canyon is driving a forklift to the ring with Judy Bagwell on it. Real sentence again. Canyon, by the way, is wearing a DDP shirt, but it says CKP, I think, or no, PCK. That was it, for Positively Chris Canyon.
Yeah, he would soon just become PK.
Yeah. What about Chris Champagne Canyon? When did that come into play?
Before this. Was it? No, it might have been after this. It might have been after this.
He changed his name so many damn times.
I know, I was partial to Mortis, personally.
I know you're being sarcastic, but I legit was. Like, I think they could have done something cool with that character, non-Mortal Kombat associated.
Dude, but anyway, created because of Mortal Kombat.
I know, but I still think they could have made him like an Undertaker type character. I don't know. And Canyon wasn't a small dude either, by the way, for anybody out there. Like, he was a good sized guy. But Canyon, he's also got blonde hair, just coming out to DDP's theme, whole 9 yards. He grabs a mic and says that there's no pole big enough, quote, in this godforsaken country of Canada to hold Judy Bagwell. So now it's not a Judy Bagwell on a pole match, which...
yeah, because first of all, that's what it was going to be. Acknowledge that, please.
So if they were going to run his mom up a pole? Like, what? Like, what were they also going to hang her by her underwear, like the bullies in school movies? Like, God. But anyway, it is now going to be a Judy Bagwell on a forklift match.
It's a real sentence. Okay, my favorite part, I don't know why, is when Chris Canyon says it. He's like, this match is now a Judy Bagwell on a forklift match. He says it with he just owns it. Like, this is like a proud thing that we're about to see.
And you were just laughing at Mortis. Dude, that was amazing content compared to this, man. For God's sake. And he calls her a battle axe multiple times, by the way. Like, that's his go-to PC insult. But this is Positively Chris Canyon versus Buff Bagwell, Judy Bagwell on a pole match, technically. It went 6 minutes, 45 seconds. Canyon is doing his I really want to be DDP gimmick. Canyon uses wire cutters at one point to expose a turnbuckle, but Buff uses it to on Canyon. Canyon hits the Canyon Cutter for a near fall, and David Arquette comes out to help Canyon. Gosh.
Again? That's a real sentence.
Yeah, this is like a fever dream. Like, this is something you like. Are you familiar with the Bob Newhart show?
Yes.
Okay, you remember the finale where he wakes up and it was all just a dream? I feel like
the ending that's been bastardized over the years, yes.
Yeah, right. And I feel like this is that. Like, Vince Russo just like wakes up in a cold sweat and he's like, bro, I just had this weird dream, bro. Buff Bagwell's mom was on a forklift and Canyon thought he was DDP, bro. And then David Arquette came out.
The D-list actor that got murdered by Nick Gage.
Yeah, if anybody watches Dark Side of the Ring on Nick Gage, man, Nick Gage nearly slit this dude's throat. Which I don't think Courtney Cox was crying about, but, whatever. By the way, how did David Arquette look more put together in that documentary from within the last year more than he did back here in 2000?
I don't know.
He looked like he just came off a bender when he came out for this pay-per-view. I'm like, dude, what have you been doing?
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, he would go on to film C-Spot Run and, I think, what was that, Eight-Legged Freaks, and just, those classics.
All those Scream remakes, or sequels, I should say.
Yeah, those were the best things he did, which is bad. But anyway, Buff finally hits the double blockbuster on both of them for the win, and then he helps his mom down off the forklift for I guess that's the official win. I don't effing know. Uncle Dave gave it a 1 3/4. I gave it 2 stars. I know I crapped on it, but the wrestling was alright. What say you?
For the wrestling, I'm staying with you. For the wrestling, it was okay, but this whole match was built around the forklift. It wasn't just a match, and they put her on the forklift. They made that essential purpose of the match, so for that I gave it 1 star.
Yeah.
If it was just a match, it would have been okay too. But you made it all about the damn forklift, which made it part of the match, which I have to include in my grade. So I'm giving it 1.
Yeah, this just yikes, man. Well, after the match, Canyon hugs Arquette and then hits a Canyon Cutter on him and leaves, which got a huge pop.
Yeah.
Why did they think that would get him booed? Or did they just not care?
I'm trying to figure out, was that a thing that a heel did because they're both heel. So is he turning face, or is it turning Arquette face? And to my knowledge, I could be wrong on this, I believe this is the last time I ever see Arquette in WCW. So was that his send-off?
Bro, nobody cares, bro. Oh, man. And in the parking lot, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but a purple limousine pulls up, and out steps, no, it's not Barney the Dinosaur, it's Lance Storm. He gets out, fans pop loudly for him, he's a national hero. He walks into the building while everyone cheers. Oh, man. Before the next match, the Filthy Animals come to the ring, all in ref t-shirts, except for Conan, and they've got the WCW Tag Team titles. So, were the titles vacant?
No, Chronic was the champions.
I thought they won the titles this night.
No, they're the champions.
Huh.
Pretty sure.
Then why did the Filthy Animals have the belts?
I think they stole them, if I remember correctly.
Did they have it like that?
Yeah.
Oh, alright, well, that explains it all then. I don't even freaking know, man. And this was a 4 corners match for the WCW World Tag Team titles with the Filthy Animals as special guest referees. Yes, all of them, except for Conan.
There's a plural in there for referee, by the way.
Yeah. They were all the special guest refs, except for, like I said, Conan, who was on commentary for this one. Might I add, by the way, WCW, on their chyrons, misspelled Chronic. They spelled it with a C. Did you see that?
I didn't, but...
Yeah.
Did they make the last K upper, or capital, I should say? Do you know?
No, because they spelled it they spelled it Kronic, was how they put it on the chyron.
Yeah, it should be K at the beginning, K at the end. They're both capitalized. I didn't catch that.
Yeah, because I was confused. I'm like, wait a minute. As far as I know, it was always spelt with 2 Ks. I don't know why it gives such a damn about this. It just stuck with me. I'm like, why can you not even spell your own crap correctly? They've literally never done that right in the history of that company. But this went for 12 minutes, 22 seconds. The teams
Way
were
too long.
Yeah. The teams were the Misfits in Action, General Erection, and Corporal Cation. Yeah, those two. Sean
I don't know if you're joking, but I thought those were the best 2 on the team. But
I would have taken Chavo over Lance LaRue, but
it's Lash.
Or excuse me, Lash LaRue. My bad.
Lash is very underrated.
I just never saw it in him. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I didn't think he was bad. I just thought he needed some work. But anyway, that was the first team. The second team was Sean O'Hare and Mark Jindrak. The third team was The Perfect Event of Chuck Palumbo and Sean Stasiak. And the final team was Chronic, Brian Adams, and Brian Clark. Disco announces before the match that the Filthy Animals are the co-referees. As I mentioned, Conan's on commentary. The Filthy Animals try to get involved throughout the match, and a few times they have to get, the other people have to fight them off. In the end, Chronic hits high times on Sean Stasiak. Lieutenant Loco hops in the ring to knock out Disco, takes his referee shirt, puts it over his head, and then counts to 3 to give Chronic the win and the tag titles. Whatever. Uncle Dave gave it a dud. I gave it 2 stars. I thought it was fine. What say you?
I gave it 2 only because I remember going into it and I mean, just rewatching it, I forgot who won. And
yeah,
it didn't look so obvious, at least to me. So I was like, all right, I'll give it 2 for that.
I don't know how they let that stand, where they're like, oh, yeah, this guy can go in, knock out the referee, put his shirt on, and, I mean, that counts. Whatever. But it's WCW. No, nobody cares, bro. Backstage, Pamela Paulshock, real name, is standing by with Jeff Jarrett, asking him how he's going to, or what he's going to do, rather, against Booker T tonight. Jarrett's got to get his insults in about Paulshock being a slut, because they all have to. I don't know why that was a running gag. And then he says he's going to prove that he's got all the stroke around here. Cool. Before the next match, Shane Douglas comes to the ring with Torrie Wilson and grabs a mic. He tells us that Billy Kidman isn't man enough to handle Torrie Wilson all night long, and he's more than willing to take some skin off Kidman's ass in their strap match. Oh, F yeah?
You know what this is leading to?
Viagra on a pole, baby. I like how people legitimately got effed up in that match because the bottle was glass.
Yep.
I remember you telling me, by the way, that Douglas shoved like a mouthful of pills down Kidman's throat, and then later on he's like walking through the back and the Nitro girls see him and he's like, I'm having a hard night.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell, man? But this one is the franchise Shane Douglas with Torrie Wilson versus Billy Kidman in a strap match with just shy of 8.5 minutes. Why is this a strap match? Don't know. In the end, Torrie Wilson is on the apron, and Billy Kidman shoves Douglas into her. She sells it horribly, by the way. Kidman then hits the unprettier on Douglas for the win. Uncle Dave gave it a 0.5 star. I gave it 2 for average. What say you?
1. This sucked.
It wasn't good. Say that. Well, after the match, Torrie comes in the ring with an attempt to hit Kidman with a chair. Very convincingly, by the way. Kidman catches her, puts Shane's end of the strap around Torrie's wrist, and then spanks her with the strap until Shane gets back up and attacks Kidman, choking him with the strap and hanging him over his shoulder in the corner. Of all people, Vito comes out to save Kidman and to chase Douglas off along with Torrie Wilson. Vito is then jumped from behind by Reno, and they start fighting. Vito gets the better of the exchange, and Reno takes off. Unfortunately, we do not see that match tonight. Because, we were hurting for it.
You saved that, dude.
I've got to ask, maybe you know, because you were watching during this time, why the hell did Vito come out to help Kidman?
They were kind of going with him for a little bit. It looked like they were going to do something with him, so...
Yeah, but was he connected to Kidman or Douglas?
No, he was just the face, and at that point, and just, there you go.
Okay, and it wasn't Reno supposed to be his brother?
In law. Yeah,
oh, okay. And they promised never to fight again, bro.
I remember, they did things like this with Vito. They did it with the Wall. I think they did it with Vampiro for a minute. It looked like they were going to do something with these guys, and then it just fizzles out. So Vito was definitely one of them.
Yeah, he couldn't figure out who the hell to push. But back in the parking lot, a white car pulls in, and Booker T gets out. Jeff Jarrett jumps him, shoves him in the car, and then repeatedly slams a car door on Booker T's right leg. What's going to happen here? But anyway, up next we get, this is real, Major Guns versus Miss Hancock in an ROTC match. ROTC stands for Rip Off the Camouflage. It went just shy of 7 minutes. Major Guns gets her top ripped off first. Hancock then gets her bottoms ripped off. Hancock misses a crossbody at one point and starts holding her stomach. She eventually rips off Major Guns' bottoms and doesn't win. I don't know, because Guns pulls off Miss Hancock's top and they fight up to the stage where there's a mud pit by it. Why? Don't know. Miss Hancock takes Guns down and they start, and then Miss Hancock, that is, gets up and starts dancing in the mud. Then she starts holding her stomach in pain. Guns rolls her up for the pin in the mud and wins. I don't know. Uncle Dave gave it -2 stars. I gave it a dud. What say you?
I gave this 5 stars. I thought this was the greatest match of the night.
Oh, yeah. Look, the visuals were very impressive. The match itself sucked ass.
I didn't even give it a rating because I was like, this is not a wrestling match, though.
I thought the rules of the match were, it says it in the name, Rip Off the Camouflage. I thought
here you go again applying logic to a Russo show. That's your fault.
Yeah, and why did they feel like we have to battle up to the mud pit, fight in there? What? Gosh, just whatever. Well, after the match, Miss Hancock holds her stomach in pain, and Major Guns actually comforts her. David Flair, in full suit, runs out, jumps in the mud, and checks on Hancock. The stretcher comes out, and the EMTs load Hancock onto it. Yikes.
It's a real sentence.
This, wow. This is going to lead to her saying she, did she ever say that she miscarried?
No, she comes out and the whole thing is like, who's the father? It's not David. It ends up being Sean Stasiak, and then I don't remember if I don't think they said she miscarried. She comes out with a stroller one night, and everyone thinks, oh, she had the kid. Mathematically, it's not possible, and the stroller just had a bunch of pictures of Sean Stasiak in it, and
yeah, I
really forget after that. I'm not trying to remember, to be fair, so.
Yeah, because if anybody goes back and listens in the archives of our Greed show, she's with Stasiak. She's just called Stacy at that point. And she says that Sean Stasiak is, quote, her baby. So, yeah. Whatever. This is the second man-meat gimmick that man has had, by the way. Just pointing that out. The first one, he was literally called Meat, and he wore tighty-whities. But from that goofy crap to this goofy crap, we go to Pamela Paulshock in the back with Vampiro, the Demon, and Great Muta. When did they start officially, lengthening his name to the Demon Dale Torborg?
When he leaves this.
Okay. Well, Paulshock brings up Vampiro setting Sting on fire, bro. And Vampiro says that tonight is the Demon's chance to prove that he's good enough for the Dark Carnival. How hard is that really? You really have to try for that.
I don't know.
How does one prove that they are good enough for the Dark effing Carnival? By the way, no offense to anybody out there who listens to ICP. It's just I find that statement funny.
I mean total offense. That crap needs to be at the bottom of the ocean. Their music.
Oh man, we're getting a letter. But up next, we got The Demon versus Sting in 52 seconds.
Yeah.
You heard me right.
Sting is miraculously okay from what happened.
Yeah.
Not too long ago, mind you.
We just reviewed the show. What show? It was Great American Bash?
I believe it was Great American Bash, yeah.
Yeah. Now in the archives, Great American Bash 2000 was our bonus show back in July.
2 months, give or take, after getting thrown off the stage while being lit on fire, he is miraculously fine.
Yeah, he's good.
Insane.
No scarring. No, no visible injuries. Still has long hair. I mean, he's good, man. Don't question it, damn it.
Okay.
Anyway, literally the only good thing about the Demon is that he comes out to God of Thunder by Kiss. Just pointing that out. Which, by the way, Tony Schiavone marks for. But then Sting comes out to Seek and Destroy by Metallica, so we've got a ton of great music in this match. It's the only good things about it. Sting repels from the ceiling onto the stage, and the Demon tries to jump him, but Sting was ready for him. Sting made short work of the Demon, hitting a Stinger Splash into a Scorpion Death Drop for the win. Uncle Dave and I both gave it a dud. What say you?
Crap. One star.
Why did they just bury the Demon at this point? Not like I wanted him to win, but it's like, damn, dude, less than a minute.
Because the contract with Gene Simmons was up, probably. Like, okay, we don't gotta do anything more.
Yeah, I don't know. But they kept the character alive. They just...
Not too much longer after this.
After the match, right after the bell, Vampiro and Great Muta jump Sting, beating him down all the way up the entryway. Vampiro uses Sting's repelling cable to choke him until Chronic comes out for the save, beating up Vamp and Muta. The Demon stands on the stage and just watches Chronic beat down his teammates. Brian Adams grabs the mic and mentions that, quote, Vancouver is definitely down with Chronic. It's funny because a dude in the hard cam all night has a sign that's a Canadian flag, but with a pot leaf instead of the maple leaf. Adams then challenges the Dark Carnival to a match for Chronic's tag team titles. What the F? But we now go to the back to see Booker T having his leg checked out by a doctor. Booker gets angry at the cameraman for being in the room, and he kicks him out. Next, Lance Storm cuts a pre-match promo where he craps on America, talks about how great Canada is. He then introduces the special guest enforcer, Jacques Rougeau. Both men then stand in the ring and stand at attention for the playing of the Canadian national anthem. Mark Madden sings "O Canada" on commentary and literally wipes tears from his eyes. What the F am I witnessing? But this next match is Lance Storm versus Mike Awesome. It is a Canadian rules match, by the way, for the Canadian Heavyweight Championship. Lance is defending, and it has special guest enforcer Jacques Rougeau. Went about 9 minutes. I believe I'll get to it after the match, but Mike Awesome hits a pop-up, sit-down powerbomb on Storm for the win, supposedly, but then Jacques Rougeau says that according to Canadian rules, you must win a match via 5 count. So the match continues. Awesome then gets Storm to submit to a Dragon Sleeper to win, supposedly, but Rougeau says that Canadian rules dictate that you can't win a title in Canada through submission, only pinfall. So the match continues again. Awesome then hits an awesome splash off the top for the 5 count to win again, but Rougeau says that Canadian rules dictate that after the 5 count pin, the man has to beat a 10 count to his feet. So the match continues.
Those are Texas rules.
Yeah, right. I find it funny, by the way, that, the Hart family is from Canada, but you can't win a Canadian rules match via submission. Okay. But Awesome hits a top rope belly to belly through a table, but he goes through it as well. Rougeau declares that the first man up to his feet to beat the 10 count will win the title. Rougeau knocks out Awesome as he stands up at 7, and the other ref didn't see it. This allows Storm to get to his feet for the win. Uncle Dave said that this was a match that had some potential to steal the show on most nights, but it was so overbooked and turned into a mess. Storm got a huge babyface reaction since they were in Canada, but the match was horrible. But it did lead to Bret Hart coming out and getting easily double the pop of anyone else on the show, although he looked embarrassed to even be involved in the angle. He gave it a dud. I gave it 2. What say you?
I gave it 2. I had a little fun watching it, but, man.
This should have been better, man. I mean, you and I both said we're fans of these guys, and it just got bogged down with crap. But when Lance Storm is celebrating, like I alluded to earlier, Bret Hart comes out for a huge ovation. Bret glares at Storm for a while before finally smiling and hugging both Storm and Jacques Rougeau. They celebrate together as the Canadian crowd goes wild. Well, backstage, Pamela Paulshock is standing by with Kevin Nash. Pamela points out that Goldberg hasn't been seen all day, so Nash says that it looks like it's just going to be him and Steiner tonight, and then he's going on to become the world champion. But up next, we get our second tag title match of the night because, tag champions frequently challenge other people to defend their titles. It's Chronic, Brian Adams and Brian Clark defending against the Dark Carnival of Vampiro and Great Muta in a match that went about 9 minutes. The ref gets bumped at one point, so the Harris brothers, Ron and Don, could enter through the crowd. They hit an H-bomb on Clark, and Muta hits the moonsault for the win. So we get new tag team champions tonight. Uncle Dave gave it a dud. I gave it 2 stars. It was fun until the Harris brothers showed up. What say you?
1, boring.
Yeah, it kind of sucked. But anyway. Backstage, Pamela Paulshock is standing by with Booker T and asks if he'll be able to defend his WCW title tonight. Booker goes off on Jarrett for trying to put him out and finishes by saying, "Don't hate the playa, hate the game." Because that was the saying during this time for anybody that doesn't know and didn't keep up with WCW at this time. But oh man, this next one is not the main event, but probably the most noteworthy thing on the show besides the Judy Bagwell on a pole match. This is Kevin Nash versus Scott Steiner versus Goldberg in a triple threat match for a shot at the World Heavyweight title with just shy of 11 minutes. When Nash and Steiner are in the ring, Goldberg's music hits and Goldberg is nowhere to be seen, so Steiner and Nash just start brawling. Goldberg finally runs down with taped ribs and a bandaged right arm and holding a chair. Apparently that was because he legit got into a motorcycle accident. He quickly gets beaten up by Steiner. At one point, Nash is about to hit the jackknife powerbomb on Goldberg, and Goldberg shoves him off and leaves the ring, walking to the back. Yikes. Vince Russo storms out, and Goldberg tells Goldberg to get his ass back in the ring, which Goldberg replies with, "What are you gonna do about it?" And he leaves. Commentary then talks about how Goldberg went off script and ruined the planned finish of the match, so now Steiner and Nash have to improvise a finish. This is
this is real.
This is effing garbage. Madeja power walks to the ring, knocks out the ref by clipping his leg, and then low blows Nash. Nash then low blows Steiner, so Madeja low blows Nash again. Commentary keeps putting over how they're just working on the fly and working without a script. Nash then hits a jackknife on Steiner for the win. Uncle Dave gave it a dud. I gave it 2 stars because I thought the wrestling was below average, but fine. What say you?
I gave it 1. I was like, this is an embarrassment to pro wrestling. It's moments like this where I'm like, I don't know why I watched this.
Yep. This was something embarrassing that you don't want your friends who are only casual fans to see.
Yeah, man, it's just...
This led to the promos for the next month saying Goldberg refused to follow the script.
Yeah, bro, it's groundbreaking.
Anybody go out and if you want to YouTube search for the promos for Fall Brawl 2000, yeah. But we're going to take our second to last break. When we come back, it's our main event, and we'll dive right into that after this break. Follow the Main Event Marks at Facebook.com/Main Event Marks Pod, on Twitter at Main Event _Marks, and on Instagram at Main Event _Marks and at Main Event Collector. FANATICS offers the world's largest collection of official sports apparel and gear from all the leagues, teams, and players that you love, including the NFL, MLB, NBA, NHL, NCAA, NASCAR, soccer, and golf. They even offer esports gear for the gamers among us. You can shop by brand, sport, team, or player. And if you sign up for Fan Cash, you get exclusive weekly deals. So head on over to fanatics.com today. Fanatics is a sponsor of the Main Event Marks and Unhinged Sports Network. The Main Event Marks are available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. Now back to the show. All right, main event time. It's Booker T defending the WCW World Heavyweight title against Jeff Jarrett in a match that went 14 and a half minutes. Jarrett instantly attacks Booker's hurt knee after a spinneroonie that Mark Madden messes his effing pants over. Booker accidentally smacks the referee, dropping him. Jarrett then grabs a guitar and blasts Booker in the knee with it during a crescent kick. Jarrett then locks in the figure 4, but Booker gets free. Jarrett goes to hit Booker with the world title, but Booker moves, and Jarrett hits good old Slick Johnson with the title. Real name, by the way.
Real name.
Knocking him colder than a banker's heart. Booker then puts Jarrett through a random table that was set up next to the ring with a bookend. And now we get a new prepubescent ginger-looking referee. Jarrett low blows Booker, knocks the new ref out with a chair. God dang it. And hits the stroke on Booker onto a chair. Charles Robinson now runs down as the new ref now. Booker finally hits the bookend for the win. Mother of God, Uncle Dave gave it 3 effing stars. I gave it 2.5. What say you?
I gave it 2. It was like, it could have been a lot worse. But by this time, I was already so checked out, I didn't even give a damn.
Yeah, my gosh, this show sucked, man. This main event, I don't even know what to say about it. But we closed the show with an advertisement for Fall Brawl that looked more like an advertisement for a big episode of Days of Our Lives rather than a wrestling pay-per-view. It was pathetic. But now that we're done with that garbage, let's take a break, our final break. When we come back, it's final ratings, and we're telling you what's coming next week on the podcast right after this. Follow the Main Event Marks at facebook.com/Main Event Marks Pod, on Twitter at Main Event _Marks, and on Instagram at Main Event _Marks and at Main Event Collector. Fubo TV offers you live sports and TV without the overpriced cable. Fubo TV offers 100 channels, live and on demand, plus over 130 streaming in 4K, and a cloud DVR is included. The Fubo TV app is available on all smart devices, so you can watch what you want when you want. There are no hidden fees, and you can cancel anytime. Cut the cord and sign up for your free trial at Fubo.tv today. Fubo TV is a sponsor of the Main Event Marks and Unhinged Sports Network. The Main Event Marks are available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. Now back to the show. Alright, final ratings time. IMDb gave this 5.2 out of 10. CageMatch.net gave it 2.67 out of 10. I gave it 4.5 out of 10 for F-. What say you?
I gave it an F this.
Yeah, this can go to wrestling hell. Like, right along with that, what was that UWF show that we reviewed? Blackjack Brawl.
Just say
94.
UWF.
Oh, yeah, well, all of it. Just all of it. This was gross. It's just offensive to the eyes, I'll say that. But a hell of a way to start off August, man. I apologize to all of you out there. Next week will be better. August 11th, we're bringing you our first SummerSlam of the month, our first of 2. This one is WWF SummerSlam 1991. Looked at fondly by Greg as a kid. I was about to turn 1-year-old at this time, so obviously I don't know anything about it. And I've never seen this SummerSlam before. So,
pretty good.
Yeah, this will be a first watch for me. I'm
There's a match on here that you're going to watch and be genuinely genuinely shocked how good it is. I'm not going to tell you which one.
Huh. All right, well, we'll figure that one out next week. But yeah, so we've actually got something good next week. And, yeah, so anyway, again, subscribe to the podcast and please leave a review and all that.
And follow on Twitter.
Yes, at main event _Marks. That's us on Instagram as well. Facebook helps out as well. We're growing on there. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're growing all over the place. I didn't mean that to come out how it did, but...
No, it's fine. We're getting sponsored by Blue Chew, hopefully, so it's fine.
Yeah, right, yeah. But anyway, so do all that, and normally this is where I would say thanks for joining me today, Greg, but I'm sorry.
I'm pretty pissed at you, but, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big fan of myself at this point after this, so it is what it is. Like I said before, can't all be first-round draft picks. But we'll see you next week with SummerSlam 1991, a match made in heaven and a match made in hell.